What's going on, guys? CrustyKs here from the Go Boys Network. Excited to talk to you guys about Week 6 in college football. We're going to do a little different this week. We're going to break it into two videos. This one will be for Thursday, Friday. We'll have another one for some games on Saturday. But let's not waste any more time. Let's jump right into this. So the first one, Texas State traveling to Troy. Point spread sitting at 13 as I'm recording this. You got Texas State coming off a really bad loss against Sam Houston, where I believe they're up like 22 points at one point and then ended up losing. Troy lost to ULM, if I'm not mistaken. So both teams kind of rolling in, definitely not at their best. Texas State, obviously a team that was picked to win the Sun Belt. And their offense definitely fits the bill. The biggest issue has been the defense. So really tough for me to get behind laying the 13 points here on the road with Texas State. They feel a bit overvalued in my opinion. The problem is I can't get to Troy. I can't back Troy just because of how bad they've been. So when I look at this game, ultimately what I settled on was I went into the quarter props, and I like the first quarter over 13.5. So the reason I settled on this is I think Texas State, we've seen their offense, they can score quick. They like to go quick. And against this Troy defense, I believe they can score quick. So whether we get 2 touchdowns from Texas State in the first quarter or we get like a 7-7, I think either way we're going to eclipse this 13.5 line. I feel really good about it. If you watch Texas State, Jordan McLeod played at JMU last year. He's an absolute dog. Look for him to keep this offense rolling against a Troy defense that is atrocious. Troy, like I said, the offense, they're not great, but you're facing a Texas State defense that probably one of the worst in the Sun Belt, truthfully. So even though they're a highly rated team, this defense has been getting gashed on the ground, through the air, however you want it. You've been able to get it. So maybe Troy picks up a cheapy touchdown early. Like I said, if they don't, I firmly believe that Texas State can get us 14 to cover this number as well.
Wait, before we get back to the picks, I wanted to thank you all for watching. Friends don't let friends watch videos without hitting the like button. So go ahead and press the thumbs up button and like the video. If you're new here and not subscribed, you should go ahead and do so because we're dropping new content each and every day on the Go Boys Network. We strive to cover every sport and give out picks and analysis and valuable information for free on the Go Boys Network. So make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell so you can get notified when we drop something new. I'm Brad Thomas. Let's get back to the picks.
The next game on Thursday, Sam Houston traveling to UTEP. A bit of an in-state game here. It's not really a rivalry per se, but you got Sam Houston laying 10 on the road. I'm actually looking the other way. I like UTEP plus the 10 here. What it boils down to for me is you look at this matchup and you look at what these teams have been going through. You have Sam Houston coming off that emotional, win, so there's definitely a letdown spot there. They won that game against Texas State in the final 5 minutes, I think it was, and they were an 11-point dog. So that's a huge win for them. So you definitely have the letdown spot here. It's on a short week because they just played on Saturday. UTEP's coming off a bye, and you have to go play at UTEP, which for those who don't know, it's in the elevation. So there's that. There's a bit of an advantage there for UTEP. Yes, this UTEP team hasn't been good. They're 0-4. But they did make a quarterback change. McConnell is starting. I thought McConnell was the better quarterback to begin with. So I'm happy to see him in there. I watched him quite a bit last season and actually thought he looked pretty good. Definitely had a bit of an issue with some turnovers, but you're facing a Sam Houston team who middle of the pack in terms of takeaways. And really what's more important to me here is the UTEP defense actually looked pretty good at slowing down the run in their last game against Colorado State. And Sam Houston is a team that wants to run the football. Their quarterback has a terrible arm, an absolute noodle arm. So even though UTEP's secondary isn't great, I don't think that Sam Houston has the quarterback play to take advantage of that. And for that reason, I think that they can keep this thing close. So give me UTEP plus 10. Moving on to Friday, the first one we're going to talk about, Houston traveling to TCU. This point spread here, TCU is a 16.5 point home favorite. For me in this one, it's a pretty gross game. Houston has not scored a point in 8 quarters. So when you see something like that, it really kind of makes you wonder. But then I went back and looked at their most recent games. They played Cincinnati and Iowa State. Iowa State, obviously very good, one of the better defenses in the Big 12. Cincinnati, a bit of an underrated defense, definitely not great, but obviously we're good enough to stop this Houston team from scoring. What I noticed, though, was this Houston team in both of those games ran for over 6 yards per carry against some pretty good run defenses. And now you're going to face TCU, who is bottom 30, bottom 40 in run defense, allowing almost 5 yards per carry this season. So Houston's going to be able to run the ball. And with that being said, I think they can score some points. So it's absolutely disgusting, but I'm going to take the Houston Cougars team total over 16.5. It is a gross bet. Don't get me wrong. Okay, but this is more of a play, like I said, simply because the TCU defense is not good. This Houston defense, I think, is a little better than people realize, but I think because they've been on the field so much and because the offense hasn't been really doing anything, they get a bad rep. Everybody thinks, oh, Houston just went like a doormat. But I really do think their defense actually has played fairly well given the circumstances. And in a game like this where they should be able to move the ball on offense, their defense should get some rest, and I really think their defense plays a lot better. We saw it a bit in the Oklahoma game where the Oklahoma offense was, pretty much held in check by this Houston team, and Houston was able to do enough on the ground to kind of keep them in this game. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see something similar to that, where this Houston team hangs around a lot longer than they should. I do lean Houston plus the 16.5 here as well. Hey guys, I just want to give a quick reminder that new users can bet $5 at FanDuel on any of the bets in this video and win $150 in bonus bets if the bet wins. Now let's get back to the bets. Our next one, Michigan State traveling to Eugene to take on the Oregon Ducks. Oregon laying a whopping 24 points here. I like the over. So the total sitting at 52.5. I like the over. I think Oregon's gonna be able to pretty much do whatever they want against Michigan State. Their offense has frustrated the hell out of me if you've been paying attention to them. I think they were held to like a single touchdown in the second half against UCLA. So you get a Michigan State defense who got absolutely shredded by Ohio State. This is Oregon's kind of chance to match that, if you will. But on the flip side, I'm not a big buyer in the Oregon defense. I don't think they're that good. And Aiden Chili's, the one thing we know about him, when he's out there, he's going to throw it. Whether or not it gets picked off, he really doesn't care. He's throwing it. So look for Michigan State to sling it. I think they can at least get us a touchdown or two to kind of carry us to this total. But I love the over 52.5 here. I think this thing likely sees probably about 60 points. Wouldn't be surprised if we see it, 40-17, something in that realm. The last one on this Friday slate, Syracuse traveling to UNLV. UNLV a 6.5 point favorite. So if you didn't know by now, the word is out that UNLV is a good team. And this line should be an indication of that because this is probably the most line respect we've seen them get this season. That being said, I want to fade it. So Syracuse plus 6.5, coming off a bye, coming off that game where they looked pretty pathetic against Stanford. I like Kyle McCord. I like what they've done with that offense, and I think they can hang in this game. UNLV, their defense on paper looks really, really good, and I think they are pretty good to an extent. But in terms of being on the same level as like a Power 5 school, I'm just not sure that UNLV has the boys to get to that point just yet. McCord, obviously, we've seen him pretty much every game this season, just absolutely sling it. They have a ton of talent at receiver. This game kind of gives me like some shootout type vibes, so I wouldn't be surprised if it goes over. If you watch UNLV, Sluka left and they didn't miss a beat. Hodge came in at quarterback, looked really good. Same kind of dual threat thing there. He ran a lot, made some good passes. Ricky White kind of got going a bit. Syracuse, the one thing that they've done pretty well all season, though, is defend against the pass. So I will be very curious to see what UNLV does here. I think Syracuse actually matches up really well with this UNLV offense, which is another reason why I love this plus 6.5. Of these 5 games here that I've talked about, if you're looking for any player props, I know everybody has them, so I don't like to really give them out a ton on here. My favorite player prop from those 5 games is going to be Ismail Mahdi. His rushing yards over, I believe it's at 78.5 now. More than fine. He is the running back for Texas State. Really like him in this spot. Really think he has a field day against this bad Troy defense. But that does conclude the Thursday, Friday slate. I will be back to talk to you guys about Saturday. As always, you can get all my official plays at goldboys.com. If you have a gambling problem, don't worry, gambler. Thank you guys.